Hello, I am Myra, your host. Our today's speaker is Dr. Khan with over 20 years of experience in medical education. And today we're diving into a topic that tugs at the heartstrings of every aspiring physician: the cost of medical education. Imagine a world where the dream of saving lives doesn't come with a crushing price tag. Tuition-free medical schools are sprouting up across the U.S., offering hope. But is it really that simple? Today I'm joined by Dr. Khan, an expert in medical education, to unpack this emotional and transformative shift. Dr. Khan, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Myra. I'm excited to dive in.
Let's get started with three big questions that I know so many students and their families are desperate to understand. Dr. Khan, I want to start with the basics because this feels like a lifeline for so many. Can you walk us through the outline of how low or free tuition medical schools work in the U.S.? What's the catch? Because it almost sounds too good to be true.
Thanks, Myra. And you're right. It does sound like a dream, doesn't it? So here's the big picture. Across the U.S., we're seeing this incredible trend where some of the most prestigious medical schools, like NYU, Columbia, even Kaiser Permanente, are saying, hey, let's waive tuition. It's not just a gimmick, it's about attracting the brightest minds and slashing that soul-crushing debt that keeps so many talented people out of medicine. The average med school grad is looking at over $200,000 in loans, so this is a lifeline. Now, how it works depends on the school. Some, like Kaiser and NYU, are bold. They offer it to every single student who gets in, no questions asked. Others, like Harvard or Columbia, tie it to financial need. Your family's income has to fall below a certain line. Then you've got places like Duke or UCLA where it's about academic merit. Basically, wow us with your brilliance and we'll cover the bill. But here's the catch. And there's always a catch, right? Tuition might be free, but it's not a full ride to paradise. You're still on the hook for living expenses, rent, food, books, fees, and in cities like New York or Pasadena, that can add up fast, sometimes $20,000 or $30,000 a year. So many students still need scholarships or loans to bridge that gap. It's not perfect, but it's a huge step toward equity, giving brilliant minds a shot, regardless of their bank account. It's hope with a little asterisk, and I think that's worth celebrating.
Okay, Dr. Khan, let's zoom in on one school that's really caught my eye: Kaiser Permanente School of Medicine. I've heard they've been waiving tuition since 2020, which feels like a game changer. Can you break down how this program works? Who qualifies, and what makes it stand out? I mean, this could be the difference between a student giving up or chasing their dream.
Absolutely, Myra. Kaiser's program is one of those that really grabs your attention. Since 2020, the Kaiser Permanente School of Medicine in Pasadena, California, has been waiving all tuition and fees for every student in its classes. And, get this, it's not locked in forever. They decide year by year, which keeps us on our toes. But so far they've stuck with it, and that's a big deal. Who qualifies? Here's where it gets exciting. There's no fine print about financial need or academic merit. If you're accepted, you're in. Tuition's covered, full stop. That's rare and honestly pretty bold. Most schools put up some kind of hurdle. But Kaiser's like, we believe in you, period. Now the reality check, you're still paying for living expenses. Pasadena's not cheap. Think housing, groceries, maybe a car if you're commuting. That could easily hit $20,000 to $30,000 a year, depending on how you live. So, it's not a free ride, but it's a massive weight off your shoulders. What makes it stand out? Beyond the tuition thing, it's the hands-on piece. Kaiser's tied to this huge healthcare network, hospitals, clinics, real patients, and they weave that into your training from day one. You're not just stuck in a lecture hall. You're out there learning to heal in the real world. Imagine that. You're studying to save lives, and your school says, we've got your back financially so you can focus on what matters. It's inspiring, but it's not without its challenges. Those living costs are no joke. Still, for the right student, this could be a dream come true.
Dr. Khan, this all sounds so hopeful, but I can't help thinking about the students listening right now. Maybe they're working 2 jobs, or they're the first in their family to even dream of med school. How does this tuition-free movement, especially at a place like Kaiser, change their lives emotionally and practically? And what should they do if they still can't cover those extra costs?
Myra, this question hits me right in the heart because it's about real people, students who've maybe been told their dreams are too expensive, too out of reach. Emotionally, this tuition-free movement is a game changer. Imagine you're that student working 2 jobs, or the first in your family to even think about med school. Suddenly, a place like Kaiser says, "We're waiving tuition." That's not just money saved. That's stress, guilt, and fear melting away. The average med school debt is over $200,000. Without that hanging over you, you can breathe, you can dream bigger. For underrepresented students especially, it's a signal that the system might actually want them, might believe in them. It restores a little faith, you know? Practically, it's huge too. Without tuition payments, you're not scrambling to survive. You can focus on studying, on becoming the best doctor you can be. And after graduation, you've got freedom. You can choose a specialty like pediatrics or family medicine, fields that don't pay as much but matter so much, without worrying about paying off a mountain of debt. That's a ripple effect that changes healthcare for everyone, but those extra costs, living expenses, can still trip you up. If you're at Kaiser and staring down Pasadena rent, what do? First, chase scholarships. Schools like Kaiser often have extra funds, and national ones like the AAMCs can help too. Second, part-time work, tutoring, research gigs can chip away at it. And if you have to, federal loans for living costs are an option. Just keep it lean and strategic. This could mean a kid from a struggling neighborhood becomes a doctor without breaking their family's back. It's hope with a heartbeat, Myra, a chance to rewrite the story for so many.
Wow, Dr. Khan, thank you for breaking this down. It's clear that tuition-free medical schools like Kaiser Permanente are rewriting the story for so many, but there's still a journey ahead. To our listeners, what do you think? Could this be your path? Let us know and join us next time on Aspiring Physicians. Until then, keep dreaming big and maybe, just maybe, debt-free.